Originally airing from 1960 to 1968, Danger Man ran for a total of 4 seasons and 86 episodes. The series revolves around John Drake, a skilled secret agent who takes on dangerous and complex assignments. Drake's missions often involve international espionage and threats to global security, which often require him to go undercover. Throughout his adventures, he encounters a wide variety of now classic cars. Today, we're taking a look at the cars of Danger Man. Let's begin. The killing of a man who embezzled $5 million of gold prompts Drake to investigate. He searches Rome for the prime suspect, the victim's girlfriend, but no one seems to know her whereabouts. But a clue within a painting puts him hot on the killer's trail. Featuring a 1958 Aston Martin DB Mark III, and a 1957 Ford Fairlane 500. When a professor's murdered in broad daylight, Drake heads to Austria to track down the assassin. But things get complicated when he finds himself handcuffed to a woman he suspects of being an enemy agent. Featuring a 1953 Mercedes-Benz 220 and a 1955 Borgward Isabella, a foreign senator's murdered in front of his blind relative, spawning public outrage as they believe the American government is behind the killing. But Drake concocts a clever plan to catch the assassin in a blind trap. Featuring a 1956 Imperial. Drake visits the Arabian coast to investigate illegal slave trading. He gains the aid of a foreign woman to help him infiltrate a diamond mine using illegal slave labor. Featuring a 1954 Land Rover Series 1. When Baravian president and his wife visit London, Drake's enlisted to protect them from a suspected terrorist attack. He learns that assassins have planted a bomb somewhere in London, and he must determine where before it's too late. Featuring a 1954 Aston Martin DB2 Mark I, a 1949 Daimler DC-27 ambulance, and a 1950 Humber Pullman Mark II. When a wealthy wheelchair-bound man's daughter goes missing, Drake fears the kidnappers are after more than just money. To save the man's daughter, he must disguise himself as the wealthy cripple and infiltrate the kidnapper's hideout. Featuring a 1955 Parson MG and a 1959 Ford Consul Mark II. An Irish rebel terrorist is being released from prison and is planning a hit job in Scotland. Drake must infiltrate the Irish rebels' base, a highly guarded bird sanctuary. But things go awry when Drake's cover's at risk of being blown, and he must take a drastic step to salvage the mission. Featuring a 1957 Wolseley 690 Series 3, a 1958 Ford Zodiac Mark II, a 1959 Humber Super Snipe Series 2, a 1951 Land Rover Series 1, a 1944 Morris Commercial C8 GS, a 1959 Humber Super Snipe Estate Series 2, and a 1959 Hillman Minx Series 3A. John Drake visits the small country of San Pablo to investigate the alleged suicide of a U.S. Treasury representative. But Drake suspects that the police commissioner is hiding something. Featuring a 1942 Lincoln Continental and a 1956 Cadillac Series 62 convertible. After secret information is leaked from the U.S. Embassy in Vienna, Drake begins to suspect that things are not as they seem and sets a trap for the suspected traitor. Featuring a 1956 Opel Kapitein. A female professor seeking asylum in Britain is suspected of being an imposter. Drake investigates the woman's sister, who claims the professor's not actually her sister. Now it's up to Drake to determine who's the real imposter. Featuring a 1950 Austin A125 Shearline limousine, a 1957 MG Magnette, and a 1960 Sunbeam Alpine Series 1. Drake comes up with a clever plan to extract American James Carpenter from an American embassy to avoid a death sentence. Featuring a 1955 Plymouth Belvedere. Drake trails a foreign agent to Kashmir, hoping to discover how he's passing secret information out of the country. But soon his cover is blown, forcing events to a head quickly. Featuring a 1955 Buick Century estate wagon and a 1937 McLaughlin Buick Roadmaster. Drake visits the foreign country where a female spy is staying and works out a plan to infiltrate her villa. And he soon learns he's not the only agent looking for the spy. Featuring a 1949 Rolls-Royce Silver Wraith. Drake follows a lead to northern Scotland, where the fingerprints of a man believed to be dead for 10 years show up in a stolen car. Drake must track the man down to discover the truth. Featuring a 1959 Ford Consul Mark II and a 1951 Land Rover Series 1. Drake intercepts a recording from an enemy agent, but when he confronts her about it, she feigns ignorance. Featuring a 1939 Alfa Romeo 6C 2300B and a 1955 Jaguar XK 140. Drake investigates the suspicious death of a NATO agent, who Drake believes was murdered while investigating a group of gun smugglers. Drake's investigation not only turns up the gun runners, but also a shocking surprise about the agent's fate. Featuring a 1959 Austin Healey 3000. And a 1958 Ford Zephyr Mark II. There's been an outbreak of radiation poisoning around a North African nuclear reactor. While the public blames the reactor, Drake suspects there may be more to the story and begins investigating alternative sources for the radiation sickness. Featuring a 1957 Chevy Bel Air, and a 1954 Meteor Niagara. Drake investigates a London embassy worker who's left the country without permission, fearing her knowledge may fall into the wrong hands. Featuring a 1956 Ford Mainline, a 1958 Volkswagen Beetle, and a 1935 Daimler Straight 8 hearse. Drake's assigned to stop an assassination attempt and discourage the perpetrators from any further attempts. Featuring a 1956 Ford Custom Line, a 1952 Nash Rambler, and a 1958 Imperial Crown convertible. Drake is sent to an underdeveloped country to investigate corrupt government officials stealing from the International Monetary Fund. featuring a 1953 Austin Healey 100 and a 1954 Mercedes-Benz 180. It's believed the royal family of a Middle Eastern kingdom has been killed. However, Drake finds one lone child survivor and must face turmoil to keep the child alive. Featuring a 1931 Rolls-Royce Phantom II